Well, I think the whole European referendum debate is massive. It's been going on now since Christmas almost. We have another 3 months almost to run of it. There's not a day in Westminster, but there is an issue comes up around Brexit, around the European referendum. So we can't ignore it, and it's there. Say 4 years ago, I was someone who was totally for coming out of Europe. I'm not a great European overall. And I'm still probably marginally on that side. However, I do see dangers. I see dangers in staying in and coming out. So I have to say, I'm still to be convinced either way. I'm just on the margins, probably on the side of coming out at the moment. But I'm still to be convinced. There's a huge amount of statistics out there, and there's a huge amount of information that I think we would do well with getting out into the wider public, because that's what they want. Public want genuine, honest facts about it. I think one issue that will have a major impact on generally on the UK, and that is talks and developments around the introduction of Turkey into the European Union. And I think people will see that as a backward step if there's further moves to allow Turkey into the European Union, and I think that will make a lot of people's minds up, because I think it wouldn't help and it wouldn't be beneficial to the European Union if Turkey were to come into it.
In terms of farming and your own background, they've estimated in around 350 million a year from European money coming in. If the UK pulls out, given the cuts we've had from London to some of our own budgets here, is there a real fear there that the farming community can massively lose out from an exit?
There's no question about it. There's potential for a huge loss to the farming and the rural community in general if we're to withdraw from Europe. Now, I do have to say, we met with the Prime Minister after he had completed his talks on the European Union. He did say that obviously they would have to look at how they could put direct support into the farming and rural communities. He did say, though, it wouldn't be near probably what is available through the Common Agricultural Policy to farmers and those in the rural community. So I do think the UK government will look at some sort of direct input to the farming and rural community, but not as big as we're getting from the Common Agricultural Policy at the moment.
And I mean, we haven't heard a very definite line from the likes of the Ulster Farmers Union yet on it. So, I mean, surely some of these groups should be speaking out, because there is a real threat to those very much needed funds for a lot of farm families out there.
Absolutely, and we've seen what happened in the like of New Zealand whenever they cut all subsidy and support. All the small farmers, basically all the small farmers, went out of business there. Now we have the big commercial farmers. Very few farming families now in New Zealand. It's broadly the big commercial ones, and there's a concern that the same would happen in Northern Ireland, and that's what we don't want, to be fair, because we've always relied on the family farming structure here, especially in the rural west, and that is one of the dangers, and it's obviously one of the issues that may convince me to vote against coming out. Other issues, I have to say, is world trade deals. The European Union make a trade deal with the US, with China, with India. Can the UK make as good a trade deal on their own? Because those countries are likely to make that trade deal first and foremost with the European Union, and then any deal with the UK would be secondary to that. So that's another big aspect that we have to look at. And thirdly, obviously, is politically. If we go out of Europe and if Scotland get their independence and get back into Europe, you have Scotland and the Republic of Ireland in Europe, England and Wales out of Europe, and us out of Europe. So it would be a really difficult political position.
Some could say could be a major threat to the United Kingdom as opposed to the European Union.
Absolutely, and that's one of the aspects that we're looking at, and obviously to me the bigger issue is to make sure the maintenance of the United Kingdom. That's first and foremost. So obviously I'll be looking at it specifically around that aspect, and that's why I've introduced it here now, is because I actually believe it is an issue that we need to look more carefully at.